Mickey, I can't get this thing to start.
Try again, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? That kind of blows. But it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. You know what time it is. It's time to start your week off right here on Nerd Initiative with Play for Keeps the show. This week, we're having a heart-to-heart with you. We're calling this one Press Start, our own video game retrospective. Mickey?
Yes.
Push the button.
Pressing start.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back, Nerd Initiative. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. And with me, as always, he is the player one to my player two.
That's good.
That's right. He is the voice of Nerd Initiative. He is Mickey CWK Smith. What's going on, Mickey?
Oh man, not a whole lot. Man, reminiscing about video games was kind of real. Like I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to like condense it down either to just a few games, but I did it. I think it came out pretty well. I think I got a good mix of everything that
I think you did. I think I copied a few of yours. I'll be honest.
I had to leave off some. I'll probably give them honorable mentions when we're talking about it. But yeah,
that's perfectly good because honestly, I think we're what almost at 24 pictures there. So
yeah.
And the best part is, folks, we're only doing generations 1 through 5, so there's still everything for the PlayStation after PlayStation 1 on. So we got some time. So there's definitely going to be a part 2 to this
for sure.
So absolutely everything going on. Do we have any pickups this week?
Let me look just like
I do too. I forgot I left it in the hallway. 2 seconds. Yay, because we do this live.
Let's see. What do we got here? My box of goodies. I think I showed all this stuff off already, so it's really like nothing special. Well,
you're the only one that's seen this one so far.
What do we got? Wow.
Treat yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
That's sick.
The SH Monster Arts Elemental Hero Flame Wingman.
It looks, I don't know what it is, but it looks amazing.
Dude, I'm going to steal the camera here. All right.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Look at this. And it is huge.
Yeah, dude.
All right. So if you guys are fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, this is one of Jaden's preferred fusions in the first season of Burstinatrix and Avian. That was his whole deal with his deck, is that he did a lot of fusion monsters. Mm-hmm. And if I did have another, here you go. And for comparison, because, you know, everybody knows I have a huge figure arts collection. All right. Now he's still in the box. But just for comparison, he's relatively the same size as a figure art, but there's so much more with the huge giant dragon hand and the massive wing that comes with it. So there's a lot going on there.
It looks great, and again, don't know much about it, but
and I got it on sale on Amazon.
Score.
Yep, 30 some odd % off, and then the day it shows up at my house, it becomes 40% off on Amazon.
Oh man,
right?
You text me and you're like, "Should I?" And I was like, "Treat yourself, man. You
treat yourself.
Get it while it's hot.
Treat yourself." Like, hey, Big Daddy Bezos, can I get my few bucks back? Come on.
Yeah. Don't you have like a 30-day policy if it goes down anymore? Can I get that?
I think they do. I don't know.
You should.
Right?
He's got enough money.
But, you know, it's all good. And before we talk about the stuff that we are going back to, what is new and exciting in this week's toy news? This just in. Toy news.
Toy news.
That's it. I got nothing funny this week.
Not a lot of news, really. Just
Really?
a few cool things that interest me. Whether I could afford to buy them or not, that's a different story. But they are. I think they're cool, and I think they kind of like maybe test some waters, right? Speaking of which,
Mm-hmm.
RoboCop: The Villains of Old Detroit. Uh,
Oh.
I don't really know this company, and from everything I like searched on the internet, this is their first product, JFS Toys. Um, but they look. I don't have a whole lot of close-ups. We'll go to the next slide, but it's all 5 of the original villains from the '89 RoboCop movie,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in these fantastic VHS like cases. They look sculpted really well. They come with all these accessories. They're 1/10 scale, which they're 7 inches, so I they're kinda like NECA, maybe a little bit bigger, not much.
Yeah, just
Um,
slightly.
Looking at them really reminds me of NECA, but the sculpt detail is really good on them. Like, I wish I should have put some more close-ups because I think these are the only 2 photos I have, but
I was gonna say it looks like it has basic Hasbro style articulation, but wherever the
yeah.
price point's at, it's gonna be definitely higher because of the molding.
So these are either British or French company, right? So they're in pounds, but they it equate to about $50 a figure. So they're kind of pricey, honestly. NECA's, sits around 35. And if this is anything like NECA, I don't know. I'm a big fan of RoboCop. So I would really
Yeah.
like to have something like this, but at $50 a figure, I really I don't know,
Now the
maybe.
question is, how much are the mechs gonna be
I don't
if they
know.
go to that? And if you get a chance, definitely I would recommend because you are a big, huge RoboCop fan. There's a recent video on Adam Savage's tested page
Mhm.
on YouTube here on YouTube
Okay.
of him going to see the big, huge robot from the first movie.
Yes.
And wait do you see how much of it is wood.
Oh, man. Well, hey, it looked amazing on screen, though.
Lovingly,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, no, it was a good thing.
That had to be one heavy thing made out of wood like that.
No, you'd be surprised. It wasn't solid wood, it was all just framing,
Balsa wood.
right? Dad!
Yeah, Hiya Toys, Godzilla, Mecha
Mecha
King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This thing stands about 13 inches from bottom of wing to top of wing, I think it says. I thought it looked really cool. Let's see if I've got, like, a price on this one or not, I don't know.
Now, the reason I said dad is because I always joke around anybody who plays D&D, like our friend Kat here, every single time Tiamat comes out, right? I was like, "Mom!"
Damn it, okay. And this is dad. Okay, I got
Yep, this is dad.
it. Yeah, this thing, is gonna be about 120 bucks for retail, so, yeah. It's a big figure, it's a nice statue. I don't know if it's articulate or not. It doesn't really look like it is in any of the photos, so, yeah. It looks great. It's
It
pretty.
is, it's a gorgeous figure. You
Uh,
can't go wrong there.
if you're big friend of the show. Oh, wait, that's just another, like, measurement. Friend of the show, Brian Volkweis. I don't think we
Yep.
covered these yet, did we? The
We
the
have not.
the
So
RoboForce
these
Wave 2. Go ahead.
Well, we have not talked about RoboForce Wave 2. So they did a whole great huge thing during the RoboForce World Tour. Say that 5 times fast. All right. The big thing is that if you go onto the Nacelle's social media, they talk about these new figures, and they've realized how much of a difference they need to make between Wave 1 and Wave 2 because they've learned a few things.
Yeah.
If you take a look, we have laser effects.
Yeah.
Okay. Take a look at Detonator. He has how many?
I could not fit all of the beams onto the screen. There's that many.
Exactly. There are at least 13 just for his
Yeah,
shoulder pieces because
yeah.
it's like, we're going to give you all the pieces. So kudos to our friends over in the Cell Company. They're doing the work for us. I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
one
for
of
sure.
us. They just have the money to do it. No, we don't. We just give it to them. But
Exactly.
I can't wait to see. Curmudgeon, I think I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna get these, but the fact that he just has his oil mug,
I know, yeah.
you can't go wrong with
He was a
that.
great character.
Sentinel,
He was a great character, though.
yep, Sentinel was probably one of my favorites too.
Surprisingly great, yes,
Yeah,
amazing.
she really was. Oh, here, put a lay on me. I don't have a neck.
Hilarious. I like one thing they did. And I think I saw Brian talk about it on Instagram. Or he may have talked about it here. I don't remember. But anyway, instead of just doing the suction cups for the
Hmm.
you
These are removable. These were on this was
a
posted on
suction
the
cup, or you can do like a solid
the
piece for
static.
posing and stuff like
Yep.
that. Yeah. So that was a
Because
good
of
idea.
yeah, that's a great idea. Because I know you want some of those more dynamic poses and
Yeah, for
being
sure.
stuck to one thing. So the big thing is Nacelle going to make a you know online store only exclusive pack if the Wave One figures are workable that you can switch them out.
Yeah, and I know these are promo images, but I feel like I've seen a couple of like, you know, just photos of the actual figure. I
Hmm.
feel like they have upgraded just a bit, like in detail. Like
Oh yeah,
to me, they seem to look almost a little bit better than Max and Wrecker from Wave One, but I don't know
they.
for sure. I gotta get my hands on
Oh
it.
no, I will. I will say with 100% certainty they are learning and they are
Yeah,
getting better as they grow.
that's awesome. So yeah, check that out, nacelle.com. I think on Big Bad Toy Store too. You can pre-order them probably anywhere, honestly, but I know those two places for sure are available right now to pre-order. Um, what did I have next? Oh, so
Yeah, what's up with this?
McFarlane Elite. I guess this is a new line where you get like something closer to like a Mezco, maybe. I don't know if it's gonna be that big of a price difference, but you've got a soft goods, you've got like much more detailed painting, like more accessories and cooler weapons. Look, man, I like Doom. I haven't played Dark Ages yet, but this thing looks sick. The fur cloak kind of like has me
Soft
almost
goods, yeah.
sold on it, and I don't know if it says how much the retail on it.
$69.99 available for pre-order at McFarlane Toys Store.
I'm out. I told myself if it's over 50, I'm not touching it.
At the same time, it's the same price of a damn video game.
Yeah, exactly. It looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, and I'm guessing it's the same scale too. I got it pulled up here. Yeah, 7-inch scale. So that's the standard McFarlane as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's really cool, and I like this elite thing. I would like to touch it and see it if it's really going to be worth $70. Is it on a Mezco level? Is it on
Hmm.
a Mayfex or a Figuarts level? I don't know. Probably not.
Well, I can tell you right now, it's not on a figure arts level simply for the fact that the chunkness.
Yeah,
Figure
for
arts
sure.
always run a little bit on the thinner
For
side.
sure. But in terms of, I mean, I don't know how much posing you're gonna do with Doomslayer, but we'll see. It
Yeah.
looks really good. That's the thing. Like, wow, it looks beautiful detail wise. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's all I have for toy news
Well,
tonight.
I'm going to throw one in here,
Go ahead,
okay?
do it.
Since you guys all know I like anime and especially a lot of the older tokusatsu style and esque shows, all right? I'm going to throw up here from Ronin Warriors Anubis, Warlord
Ooh,
of Cruelty, 112 scale action figure. I loved Ronin Warriors as a kid. I thought this
same.
was again one of those, Voltron Power Rangers
Yep.
kind of ideas. This is a stunning and beautiful figure. This is just a preview, and then on top of it, it comes with the helmet, without the helmet, all the different,
Look at that thing.
hmm
Sick. Oh.
and I always thought that the bad guy warriors it kind of got the short end of the stick. Like they didn't get the full armor
Yeah,
effect,
yeah, yeah.
but to still give them the all the weapons. And then here's the best part. You ready?
Yeah.
It's removable.
Dude.
So, like, if you remember when they would
Yeah,
mention or morph or
yeah.
whatnot, you'd see just the armor sitting there in that samurai pose.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Hmm.
Oh man, they haven't done any other of the characters, have they? This is the
Oh,
first one?
they've done quite a few.
Oh, okay. They've done the OG
Yeah,
team?
yep, yeah, they have done the original team, and I think two of the other villains.
Oh
Um,
man.
and I think they've also done the white armor of Inferno. So
I bet it's hard to get a
yeah,
hold of those now. It's too late.
and I'm still on the hunt.
Yeah.
I had just recently gone up to the Carousel Mall or Destiny USA, and I went to several of the collectible stores there, and I still can't find that damn Donatello Universal Monster.
Dude, I gotta find that thing too. I want it so bad, and now I'm like, so when those figures released, I was like, I don't care. But now that I've got 3 of them, I was like, I gotta have Donatello. Somebody please help me.
Yeah, and the worst part is like I ordered 4 turtles, and one of them wasn't Donatello because I hooked up one of our other
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
friends. It's just like
That's hilarious. Oh
it's
man.
just give it to me. Why did Donnie get the short end?
It's
Like, can we like message? Do we have someone at
well,
NECA?
why why was he so why did he end up being so popular? Because you can't find him on eBay for less than $100.
And I don't think it was just because of the popularity. I think it was because of the fact that he only had one figure. Now, at the same time, do we do the math and figure out how many Universal monsters have they used up? Are we, you know,
Yeah.
is it just the fact that they didn't have enough Universal monsters to fill in the gap
I don't know. Cat says, "Have either of you checked Walmart?" I don't go to Walmart, like,
constantly?
all the time, but at least once a week, and I do look, and I don't see any of the Universal Monster toys there anymore. I see a ton of, like, movie figures, like the Casey
Mm-hmm.
Jones with the dirt bike and Master Tatsu's still there. That's about it, though. And Shredder and, like, Battle Damage Leonardo, but other than that, I don't really see any turtle
Yeah,
stuff.
I saw a few Turtles of Grayskull this past weekend. Like I even bought an Orko figure, um,
Ah!
and I didn't get it. I didn't bring it in, but it's literally the size of my thumb.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so that was funny. I just like
Is it
because it
one of
was in there.
those little guys like this?
No,
Oh.
smaller.
Like the mini, like, the smallest toys in the world minis, like those?
No, no, no.
Okay, okay, okay.
I'll send you a picture later.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Either
Uh,
way. But hey, guys, we're going to take a trip down our personal memory lane. So if you have your own memories about some of these video games or some of these generations or what particularly your favorite video game is on here, make sure in the chat and the super chat, we want to hear from you. I know some of us,
yeah.
some of you, viewers might be a little young for this, or maybe you had the cool older siblings that, brought you in. But we definitely want to hear about this. And I love the fact there's Tab. You got Tab
It's gotta be on here. It's the '80s, man.
because we're old. And here's the funny thing: if you get Coke Zero just at the right temperature,
Oh,
you'll
yeah?
get essence of Tab.
Okay.
Tab
Did not know that.
actually came back a few years ago as an energy
It
drink,
did. I remember. I
and it
do.
was
Yeah.
garbage.
Yep. Did not do it justice at all. But, yeah,
But
like you were saying, chime in because there's a lot of games up here I wanted to include and didn't, and maybe they're one of yours,
mhm.
and I might wanna, like, talk about it.
Yeah, and also the fact you put in Atari and you put an adventure on that cover, you do you know. And again, if for those of you who don't remember the Atari video games system, yeah, Tab, because we're talking retro. We used to drink Tab
What
while playing video games.
these are our snacks while playing Atari and Nintendo.
Yeah, you were outside playing with your big, huge Silverhawk on your arm. All right, I get it.
Daniel still has his mom's Atari. That's awesome. I wish I still had, my dad's. That would be great, but no.
I had a Commodore 64, so I didn't think this really counted.
Yeah.
Because while y'all were playing Atari, I was playing,
You should have thrown it
Math
up there.
Blaster and Word Blaster.
Well, the thing with Atari, at least for me, is everything I was playing was arcade games, really. Like, it was an arcade at home because I was playing Asteroids, I was playing Centipede, I was playing Space Invaders and Donkey Kong, and even the Super Mario Brothers that was like a really weird game up there. But Pitfall was the one that I remember playing the most and just having a lot of fun, even though it wasn't that exciting. But I was very young, and obviously Atari was at the end of its like life
Hmm.
when I started playing it. So I was kind of catching up. Like the older cousin had it, and I think my dad had one. So like anytime I was playing that stuff, I was just kind of I don't
You're
know.
there.
I was just there. I was getting my first taste of like this crack that is video games.
So Ken has a good question.
ColecoVision. Yeah,
Where's ColecoVision? Now, Ken, these are our personal memories. So just so you know, we talked about it. We both did not have ColecoVision.
we were not
We
there.
understand you're of a particular generation. So if you had it, like I said, jump in the chat and let us know.
We were not there when the magic was written.
That's right. Also, a neat thing, Pitfall. Right? Do you know
Yeah,
who did the original ad campaign for Pitfall?
Harrison Ford.
Nope, a one Thomas Jack Black.
Really?
Yep, I got the
Okay,
picture right here. You want to see it?
pull it up. That's funny. Aw, he's so cute.
I'm on adventure with Pitfall Pete.
Oh man, Pitfall used to make me so angry. Yeah, I used to fall in the pit a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
It's
Uh,
crazy.
you can pull it, yeah.
Yep, you
But
got it.
that was just a tiny taste for me for Atari. Like I said, a lot of it was just arcade games I was playing at home. Pac-Man was another one. Like, there weren't a whole lot of like. I played the ET game, which everybody knows is iconically awful, right?
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, that was about it for me, man. Uh, we'll move on to the more popular first console for most
And
kids.
technically, just so you guys all know, this is the second generation of
It
video
is.
game
It
systems.
is. Yeah.
So your Atari 3600, your ColecoVision, and whatnot, they were all the first generation. Then we had the great crash, i.e., in 81. And that's why Nintendo specifically made the original Nintendo Entertainment System in the American market look more like a VCR because
Mm,
they wanted it to look more like it's a console that you would have sitting in your home. That's why it's called the Video Entertainment System, not the video game system, because they were too afraid of getting the backlash from the great video game crash of 81.
yeah. And I feel like that has continued on throughout every a lot of generations where they wanted to make it a home thing, like something parents could use, although they know it's not for parent. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, you can use this too. You know, we're not going to, but it's a good selling point.
And
I
there,
remember Xbox, Microsoft being hard on that for a while. Like, we're trying to make the complete home entertainment system. So,
yep. And the other big hard thing about it was the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES versus the Famicom. The Famicom literally means family computer because a lot of things they realized the American market it wasn't going to work out here, especially like the modem that you were able
oh
to
yeah,
use on it and download games. There was a typing program. There was all kinds of stuff. You could balance your checkbook. Certain banks in Japan, you could log in on your Famicom
that's
and
awesome.
do that stuff. Obviously, why would we do that in America?
Yeah, that's amazing. I can only imagine. Like, what are you doing? I'm getting on the Famicom. I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm balancing my
deposit it.
checkbook.
I'm gonna.
I, got, I, I took out all these Koopas, ding, 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 and put it in my bank account.
So I picked out like five of. This was really hard, by the way. 'Cause there's so many Nintendo games, so many, and
Hmm.
I was a Nintendo kid, so those were usually my consoles were Nintendos. But ones that really like left a mark on me are the ones I picked here. So like Friday the 13th, I was scared to death of that game. Like at first, even though it's not really that scary, the
No.
music would capture you and make
Yes.
everything tense, even though it's
Very
not.
creepy.
And you'd be going through these cabins, turning, and then bam, there's Jason, and it was really hard to get away from him. So I had a hard time with that game.
The other big thing is that one thing synonymous with the Nintendo games is that they came with these things called instructions.
Yeah,
And Friday the 13th is a prime example of, hey, read the instructions before playing the game, then you'll know what the hell you're doing.
and I didn't.
Because you're not going for Jason, you're going for Jason's mom.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I had a hard time playing that as a kid, obviously, but as an adult, you kind of figure it out. Billy Bayou Billy, right? Not a lot of people have heard of this game. I was a big fan of Crocodile Dundee. Still
Yep.
am. Um, this is a game. I don't remember who bought it for me, how it came across my home, but I put a lot of hours into it because I was hooked on it. I really liked Double Dragon, which this is kind of reminiscent of, right? Because it's you beat them up side to side. But you would also get to hop in his little Jeep and like drive and shoot down helicopters and bad guys. And he was basically just trying to get his girl back from the bad guy. And it was just something that captured me. I don't remember what it was. Was it the music? Was it the gameplay? I don't know. But I spent a lot of time into it, and it's a vivid memory for me playing Bayou Billy. Um, I think we
He was
all.
also a character on, and I can't remember specifically which one, if whether it was Captain N, the Game Master, or if it was on the Power Team Power Squad. He would show up every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Um, and like he had like the very 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 Oh, how you do that? We got to go down there. Get that water boy now.
Exactly. Um, I I mean,
Where do we?
I have some trauma from Battletoads
We
because
all, dude. We all do.
but
Okay.
that's why I don't know why. That's why I love it so much. I love to hate it. Like, it was so hard, but it was so fun, and it was a cool concept. Battletoads, like,
Hmm.
it was a fun game to play, and I would just do that for hours trying to
I'm
get
gonna
that sequence
add
down.
on it because of the fact that we didn't. A lot of people rage quit because of the turbo tunnel.
Yeah.
Battletoads Double Dragon after Double Dragon
Oh,
3
man,
came
yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah.
That was like a crossover we didn't know that we needed, but that was a
Yeah,
great game as well.
it was. It was really hard, really, really hard not to put Double Dragon on here, just so you guys know, like, I stressed over it, but I bumped it
And
at
for
the
me, it
last
was
second.
Double Dragon 3 out of all of them.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, that's just like when I think about Nintendo, that's like one of the games other than obviously Mario and
Mhm.
Kirby and all that, that's one of the games I remember because anytime I didn't have it. My grandmother had a system with it on it, and anytime I went to her house, this is all I did.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Grandma had the system for all the grandkids coming
Yes.
over?
Yes. She was a cool grandma, man.
She was the Kool-Aid grandma.
She had the NES, and then she got the Super Nintendo too when that came out, but dude, the hours I would spend playing this and playing it in the arcade whenever I got a chance, but just playing at home, there was something awesome about it, and this is when I was really getting into Ninja Turtles too, so awesome, right? Like, I don't know how many times I played it, I can't tell you.
Agreed. And like we did during our April month of TMNT, 2 and 3 are probably the better ones because just like Battletoads Turbo Tunnel, we're still traumatized from the original game with the dam.
Exactly. This game was way more fun than that game. It just had much better playability, in my opinion.
Hmm.
The greatest game, in my opinion, on the NES is the Super Mario 3. Like, I again, I probably played that more than any other game, man. It was
Yep.
just I remember I remember seeing it in The Wizard. You ever
That
watched The
was the
Wizard?
first appearance ever.
And
Yep.
I was like, "I have to play that, man." I love that movie. I loved it when I was a kid. I still do. I was blown away. Like, what a great marketing campaign, a way to, like, announce this to the world. I was like, blow my mind's blown. I have to play this game. And then when I got it, it was everything I thought it would be. And I don't know how many playthroughs I did of that, like 20, 30. I don't know. Like, it was a lot. I'd finish it
And
and I'd play it again.
and you choose to, okay, well, I'm going to play this particular one going through getting both warp whistles. Or wait, I'm going to
Yeah.
play this
Yeah.
particular one and I'm going to make sure I get the hammers and break the rocks in world 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to get, you had that replayability out of it.
Exactly. And there,
And the
go
big
ahead.
thing was is that it took almost 25 years for them to finally admit that the opening sequence, with the curtain wasn't just like, oh, we're playing a game. No, this was supposed to take place on a stage. This
Yeah.
was a stage show. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever.
That's not
All
what's
I know is
important.
were the Koopalings union or non-union? Where's the Teamsters?
Yeah, heck yeah. Let's move on to yours.
Okay, so on the flip, we're going to talk about that these are being Tom approved, and I'm looking at you as such because if you don't like it, I don't care. Okay, I was a big, huge Capcom fan. Really enjoyed Capcom games. Now, Mega Man 1, I almost put it on here, but
That
I
was a
didn't at
hard
the
one.
same time
Yeah.
because it was extremely hard. My first Mega Man game was Mega Man 2. And because of Mega Man, I actually have made friends with people all over the world because of this game. So that's why it
Awesome.
makes such a difference to me. If you also notice, I went to Mega Man 5, but not 6. If you guys don't know, Mega Man 6 was not released by Capcom here in the United States. If you look up the box art right now, after you stop watching us,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the Capcom logo on it because this was right at the end of the Nintendo's run, and Nintendo knew they were going to make money off this game because it came out every single year. My dad would get me the Mega Man game every single Christmas. He even had a contact in California back in the late 80s, early 90s, and got me a copy of Mega Man 6 like a month and a half before American release.
That's cool.
Don't know how.
Yeah.
But I loved Capcom games. I really did enjoy them. DuckTales, obviously, that moon theme still plays in my head to this day.
Yeah.
I remember back when I used to do streaming over on my off the cuff Tom channel. I played DuckTales through. I did a full run through of that. A little known one, Little Nemo the Dream Master, based on the movie.
Man, I forgot about that game until I was looking at the present. I was like, I loved Little Nemo,
Mm-hmm.
the Dream. That was a really fun game. I was happy to see that there.
One thing you'll notice, I like platformers. I
Yeah.
really like platformers. So Wizards and Warriors, Fabio on Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2, and then Wizards and Warriors 3, because we realized, oh crap, we can't name them something different. They don't follow along. Love the whole Wizards and Warriors game series. There was other ones. There was a company out of Canada that were unlicensed games. They were gold cartridges, and they had little switches on the back so you could play them
Uh-huh.
between the different. So there was Dizzy the Adventurer. There was even a unlicensed by Nintendo but licensed by Micro Machines racing game,
Okay.
which eventually they did do a release on other ones. Um, they were fun, and those games, the Calmerica, I think it was called,
Uh-huh.
was the brand. Guess where you could buy them?
Where?
QVC. Like, you want to talk about
Oh,
90s? QV
dude.
freaking C.
Oh,
God love my
man.
dad, but he had a really bad obsession with QVC.
Nothing wrong with that. No. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe. uh, I I feel like I don't think either of us put Legend of Zelda on here. That was hard for me because the age I was playing these, I didn't understand.
And
You know
that's
what I
why
mean?
I did neither.
And I struggled. Going back to play those as an adult, no, now that was a different story. I was like, this is awesome. Um, and yeah. So that's one people might be like, oh my god, but like as a kid, I don't have fond memories of it. I have fond memories of watching my uncle play because he really liked it, and I would just watch him play, but I didn't really play because I was not good at it at all. Being a little too young to understand, I was like, I don't know where the hell to go.
And you know what else I almost threw on here just for fun?
What?
The Game Genie.
Oh man, yeah, that was awesome.
Because there were some games like, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
But at the same time, should I? Because look, I'll be honest. God love my parents. The first few years I had Nintendo, they would just go out and buy me whatever the game is for Christmas or whatnot. And again, very fortunate enough to be able to have done that. But there were some of them like, what is this? Okay,
Yeah.
this is too hard. I want to play Dragon Warrior. Prime example.
Okay.
All right, did not understand how to play RPGs. Why? Because once again, did not read the instructions. Metroid, same deal.
Oh
Did
man,
not read the instructions.
so hard.
And don't forget the famous Justin Bailey code.
Oh yeah.
Samus is a girl,
Oh yeah. I
you
feel like
know.
there's a lot of like I still have an NES and a lot of games. Well, not a lot of games, but a pretty good amount. And another game I went back and played as an adult was Final Fantasy, like the very first one on NES. That's a lot of fun. It's something I didn't really get into as a kid though. So yeah, that's another one I kind of missed
And
out
I
on.
think it comes down to the fact that as adults, we have the time and the patience to learn the mechanics of a game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really good one too. Like must I'm not gonna say it's my favorite Final Fantasy, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I Game Boy was kind of like the next step for me, and I guess you too, since that's kind of was how you did it. Um, I know Tetris is probably like the most obvious pick, but I spent a lot of time playing Tetris. Like I really liked Tetris a lot.
And how's your pumpkin spice?
It's really good, by the way. But yeah, that Link. Oh man, Link's Awakening is one of those like all-time great Zelda
Did you
games.
get the Switch remaster that they did of that?
I didn't. I
It's
didn't.
so much fun. And I played the heck out of that too.
Yeah. Uh, I love racing games, and Super RC Pro Am was really hard on Game Boy, but that made it fun to me. Like I had a hard time, but I enjoyed when I got good at it, like being good at it. Um, Bart versus the Juggernauts. That was another really hard game. I don't know how many times I was like, I'm not playing this anymore because I can't beat this.
Mm-hmm.
But like a little while later, I'd be like, it's a lot of fun though. I want to try again. And I definitely I got pretty good at it by the end. It's a really hard game, but a lot of fun.
I'm gonna have to agree, but go back to Nintendo, Bart's versus Space Mutants.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep, where and with that really floaty jump that he had,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and you had to
Uh,
paint everything red, and you barely had any shots for your slingshot.
Bart versus Juggernauts was all about timing, and it was really hard to get the timing down sometimes. You really had to practice a lot. It was very repetitive to get to it. But and then I feel like Kirby's Dream Land, outside of Pokemon, might be like one of the best Game Boy games. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to throw Pokemon in here, but Kirby's Dream Land, when I think about Game Boy, I think about
Hmm.
Tetris, right? But I think about Kirby's Dream Land as well. Like those two are synonymous with Game Boy for me.
Big honorable mention, and I know they didn't hit either of ours. And I was just thinking about this: Super Mario Land 2,
Yeah, for sure.
um, and then Super Mario Land, the first one, because it was our introduction to Sahara Land and Princess Daisy,
Mhm.
the anti-princess.
My youngest son is obsessed with Princess Daisy for some reason. He loves her.
Dude, Peach gets captured. Daisy fights back.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly.
Another thing I want to mention also, Kirby Adventure on the original Nintendo.
Yeah.
That was a great one. I can remember vividly the first time I had snagged two enemies at the same time. Do you know what happens when you snag two at the same time?
Do they fuse? Do they combine powers?
You get random.
Okay.
And the first time I ever did that, I got UFO, the rarest item in the
Nice.
game. And I remember exactly, yeah, like vividly. What the heck is this? Dad, what? So yeah, I have to agree. Kirby's Dream Land, absolutely. Link's Awakening, again, tons of fun playing that.
Gosh.
And then here we go. This is where I go off the rails. Final Fantasy Legend 3. This again was one of those games that my parents had bought for me. Not understanding RPGs, I really took my time with this. Now,
Mm,
The whole Final Fantasy Legend series is not a Final Fantasy game. Because here in the States, they knew that Final Fantasy was a very popular franchise. This is actually another game that has been, just name swapped, kind of like Doki Doki Panic, Super
okay.
Mario 2.
Yeah.
Same idea with that. Mega Man 5, of all things. This was a very big departure from the previous four Mega Man on Game Boy games. The reason being is this is not slightly based off of the mainline Nintendo version. If you take a look in there, you'll see the bad guys were named after planets.
Okay.
So you fought
Yeah.
Neptune,
Yeah.
Saturn, so on and so forth. So, and this was also the first time you got the Mega Punch instead of the Mega Buster.
Mhm.
And yes, I put Pokemon on there. What are you gonna do?
I mean
I played the original. I have a level 100 Charizard because I'm that guy. I'm just gonna, max out my one guy and just my ace. Boom.
Nothing wrong with
And
that.
and I also took my time and found the Pikachu in the Viridian Forest.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, do you know what the percentage was on finding a Pikachu in Viridian Forest in the early game?
2.5.
Yeah, just about that.
I noticed Daniel said I prefer Game Boy over Sega Game Gear. I don't think I ever touched a Sega Game Gear. So I mean I guess I gotta agree with you. Yeah. I didn't have Sega money. You know what I'm saying?
Pikachu was a 6% to find.
6%. Wow, okay.
6%.
But speaking of the Sega Game Gear, let's move on to the Sega Genesis, which I did not have. But my friend neighbor, I would go over and play all the time.
Hmm.
I had a couple of cousins that had Sega instead of Nintendo, and I got to play it a lot. So I did have some picks for this.
Same deal.
um,
One of my best friends had one growing up, so you'll see my list is very.
uh, Now, Mortal Kombat was on several different. Well, I think it was on Super Nintendo
It
and
was, but
Sega.
the problem was it being on Super Nintendo did not. It only had the 16-bit as opposed to Mortal Kombat, which was 16 but had more processing power unless you got the 32X add-on. Plus, the Genesis also had the Blood Code. Thank you very much. There's a reason I have that name.
Thank you, and that's why it's on the Sega list because anytime I played Mortal Kombat, I had more fun playing on a Sega, and I think the 3 buttons also helped too when it came to, like, uh, pulling off
Punch,
moves and
kick,
stuff like
high,
that, yeah.
low, yeah.
So I really loved playing Mortal Kombat on a Sega Genesis a lot. Earthworm Jim is one of, like, my favorite game franchises. He's just goofy. I like games that are, like, goofy like that. If it just has this, like, comedy action to it, and you'll see it in future, picks as well. I just really dig that. Like, that's fun to me. I wanna have a good time, I wanna laugh. I like really weird stuff. Don't give me, like, the same stuff over and over again. Give me something different.
Hmm.
Um, Streets of Rage 2, dude, that game is so much fun. I put a lot of hours in Streets of Rage 2 just with friends, like 2-player,
And
crushing
that's
it up.
one of those games where you definitely wanted to play it on
Oh,
Genesis
yeah, yeah,
versus
yeah, yeah.
Nintendo. Now, don't get me wrong, both systems had Mode 7 graphics, but the Genesis did it better.
Oh, yeah,
So, yeah.
for sure. Um, I was like, I'm gonna throw in a curveball here,
Yeah.
and that's Bassmasters Classic. I really enjoy playing fishing games. Well, not on every console, but this one was a lot of fun on Sega, getting to move your boat around like this, and with the depth finder, and it just had a lot of fun play. And I want to say Dreamcast had like a really fun fishing. Sega does fishing games really well, and I don't know why, but they do. So I
Oh,
just had
I
to throw
remember
that in
their
there.
arcade versions where you had the physical.
So much fun.
Yep. Back when I worked for Jillian's. I'm going to add in here before we go to the next slide. As far as Sega is concerned, again, going back to my best friend Claudio, back when I was a kid, he had the Master System, and I just didn't want to waste a whole slide on it.
I got you.
I liked Wonder Boy. And
Okay,
again, it comes down to being, what is it? A platformer.
there you go.
Again, I like games with story. That's like when I was a streamer. The whole premise was for me to enjoy a story with you.
Yeah,
Again,
and
again, I'm not trying to shamelessly plug because trust me, my videos back then were horrible,
it's
terrible.
fair.
Like if you want to watch how not to stream, go for it. There's even a stream out there on my Kingdom Hearts run where I fell asleep. It was that bad.
Oh man. But one pick we share that I noticed is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I feel like, man, that's like top tier for me when it comes to Sonic games. Mostly just because of Tails, but like it's also a fun story. It had a lot of great gameplay. That's our segue to your list is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Well, again, not having a Genesis, it was Sonic, it was Sonic, it was Sonic, it was Sonic Knuckles, and Alter Beast. That was it.
That
Sonic,
was it.
Sonic, 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 Alter Beast.
Honorable mention to Echo the Dolphin. I enjoyed playing that game, as dumb as it was.
Yes, I know of it. I never played it.
A friend of mine had it, and I think he got it like when he got the Sega or whatever. And I was like, I'll play it. And I just sat there, kind of got like hypnotized by it, and I was kind of stuck there for
The
a while.
graphics were great, and
Yeah.
like the fluidity and the motion. Like I'm not going to knock it, but I just never have.
So like, I was like, I'll play this again. Like it wasn't that bad.
Mhm.
I didn't play it all the time, but it was a lot of fun for what it was to be what it was.
This was hard.
Dude, tell me about it, right? Because I feel like this is like N64 is really good, but man, Super Nintendo is still like I think it's still that number one Nintendo console for me. Like it was that much fun. There was so many good games on it.
Hmm.
And like you said, that was really hard. Like you said, like I was trying to get them all to 5. I was like, I cannot put just 5 on here. Um, Mega Man X, I love the X series much more than I do the original Nintendo like series. Like I remember playing 1, 2, and 3, but not having as much fun as I did playing Mega Man X and
I,
X2.
I think it came to the fact that you had to pick up the armor pieces. The
Yes,
bosses were harder, and then once
yes,
you got the full armor, the boss weapons got an upgrade itself.
and the soundtrack slapped.
Oh well, let's not forget the hidden move that was in the few of the first original games.
Which is what?
So if you do Armored Armadillo stage and you have to hit all the prerequisites, there is just before the boss door at the top. So you're riding the cart all the way down,
Mhm.
and I can't remember what all the prerequisites are. I think it's like no hits or don't lose, something like that. There is a capsule with Dr. Light where you get to learn how to do the Hadouken.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
And the best part is that Hadouken, if you pull that off and you still got to do the full, quarter
Yeah,
circle with the thing, it's a one hit on bosses.
dude, sick. I'm gonna do that. uh, Pilot Wings. was another game when I was talking about my grandmother's house earlier. This is a game she had that
Hmm.
for some reason I just I could sit there and play it for hours. It was like relaxing.
It's
You're
one of
trying
those. It's one of the first games that came out that really had spat worked on the Mode 7 graphics, and I think because it was so different to us, that's what made it so appealing.
yeah, it just flying the plane through the circles. I just sat there and I would concentrate so hard. I wanted to do it. There was like a parachuting where you land in a
Hmm.
targeted area. You also had like a rocket uh pack
Jetpack, yep.
jetpack, and hang gliding. I think was the other one. I think that's all of them that were in there. But
Hmm.
they had all these skills, and you would try to like beat your scores, and it was just one of those things that I loved doing. It relaxed me when I played it. Batman Returns, one of my favorite Batman movies, and one of my favorite Batman games. Like it was a lot of fun. Another side scroller beat 'em up, and you get to hop in the Batmobile every now and then and
Yep.
mess up some bad guys. But it was just fun beating up clowns. I don't know why. It just was. um, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is one of the greatest games of all time, and I will defend it to my last breath. This is another one like Earthworm Jim that had these like quirky things about it. You could pick up almost anything as a weapon. My favorite thing to do was to get a weed eater and just mow down zombies. Like
Hmm.
it was somewhat you're shooting water guns. This kid's just like going through the
Yep.
neighborhood.
It was a top-down style
Yeah,
game shooter, kind of like if you remember Narc, but only not as gory.
yeah.
Just
It's
zombies.
it's fun. It's kid related. You get to explore the neighborhood. There's like a Jason with a for some reason. There was UFOs. There was all kinds of crazy stuff, and that's what I loved about it. Um, dude, Donkey Kong Country is one of those games that I played over and over and over and over again. Donkey Kong Country 2, 3. I love those games. I'm a Donkey Kong guy, so
They're all on my list.
yeah, they're all good. I wanted to put all of the Street Fighter 2s up here, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, and Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but I feel like I played Turbo more than any of them. Um,
Who is your go-to?
uh, Honda. When I was playing Turbo, Honda, like he was really good. Any other time, I'm probably using Vega. I really like playing with Vega too. But um,
I was basic. I was the pumpkin spice. I was Ryu the
Ryu,
whole time.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Simple moves, easy combo, can't go wrong with it. And I still to this day he's one of my main. Any character that has the same move set as Ryu. So like if I'm playing Marvel vs. Capcom, Mega Man has the same exact move
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
Spider Man has the same exact moves. I'm like, yep, I'm in. I'm good.
A Link to the Past, Zelda. This is one where
Best game of all time.
after I had played The Adventures of Link, I kind of understood Zelda now, right? And this was a lot of fun. Getting to travel through time and things change. Just so much fun. So many great like play styles. But again, it's a Mario game that rules the console. Super Mario World. Again, I
People
don't
are
know how
still
many
stringing
times
it to this day.
I don't know how many times I played through it, how many times I beat it, how many I just kept playing it over and over and over again. I loved Boo's like haunted house. That was a lot of fun. I love the castle theme. So like it's always in my head. Um One thing that I forgot to put up here was actually Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I love that game too. That was really
Yeah,
hard
I
not to
was
play.
out of it at that
I
point.
loved it. I loved
I
it.
and I have played one of the Yoshi Islands game. I think I have the Wii U version of Yoshi Island. And I just couldn't do it. Like you're a Mario game. I shouldn't be throwing stuff. I shouldn't be stopping to aiming to throwing stuff. And
I
that
liked it.
that was my logic.
Yeah, I liked it though. Except for when baby Mario would start crying, I'd be like, "Oh, that's annoying." But other
Now,
than that,
again, going back to the replayability of Super Mario World, you had the idea of, oh, do we take Star Road? Do we go around this way? Do we play with no switches? Do you take all the secret exits?
yes,
That really, really helped
yeah.
again for that game. So yeah, I've got 3, 4 the same to match with you. Mega Man X, and I'm saying X because I at that point when X2 and X3 came out, there was something going on, and I just didn't. They didn't click for me,
Yeah, it
and
happens.
I didn't get them. Now I've played them since because Legacy collections and so on and so forth. Again, Super Mario World's on my list. Donkey Kong Country. It's the whole series. I think what really made it such a trendsetter was the care that Rare had put into developing this game and
Mhm.
how much they were able to add in with the extra chips, because these were wire framed characters. Um, so you know that was it. I absolutely loved it. Zelda: Link to the Past, same exact deal. Super Metroid. I
It's good.
put hundreds of hours in this game, and I think I had the strategy guide for it to help
Yeah.
me go through it. But such a wonderful game. Um, the music was great, and then you start getting the different add-ons and the weapons and the various suit and the super speed and so on.
Yeah.
Um, before I get to Killer Instinct, I'm going to talk about Plock. Okay,
Block.
Plock again. Very rare, underrated game. If you know, you know. This was a great platformer. Plock is a character, and it's a very simple game.
Yeah.
Honestly, the premise is extremely simple. Plock is this, clay creature thing. Now, it didn't have the same type of animation like of Clay Fighters or Killer Instinct, but it was a simple, side scroller in bits, and you throw your hands and your arms. And if you didn't go back and get them, you were bouncing around like a
Oh,
sack of potatoes. And that's, I think, was the fun part, the little bit of difficulty you had from a very adorable platformer.
yeah.
And then Killer Instinct. Now I finally get my fighting game up on here.
It was hard for me not to put that on mine, but I'm glad you
Ooh,
put yours.
man, this was a good one. Now, who was your main for Killer Instinct?
Uh, what was his name? Spinal? It was the skeleton.
Yep,
Was it
yep,
Spinal?
Spinal.
Okay, okay,
Yep,
yeah, I loved Spinal.
mine was Cinder.
Oh, that guy was good too.
Again, a Ryu move
Yeah.
set. Um, and then do you remember what color you would make your character? Because this was one of the first times, like, if you played the Street Fighter games, you had to know which button to push.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Killer Instinct was like, hey, choose your color of your character.
Going back to the, asking me about my pumpkin spice, I like just using the plain old
That's all right.
whatever the my kids will be playing Super Smash Brothers, like, changing colors, like, "You gonna change your color?" I'm like, "No."
Look, I'll give them credit. Super Smash, the Smash Brothers line. I'm not a fan of the games. Okay, I
Yeah,
think that there's talent in playing the game, but at the same time, when you only have to push one button and do motions to make things happen, that's where it takes it out for me.
I got you.
But for Killer Instinct with Cinder, I would always make it the white with the blue accent, so it was like,
Oh, sick.
high test flames. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that, Rare was finally bought out by Microsoft and it's only available on Xbox. And they did several sequels on the newer console generations. But yeah, Killer Instinct, that was it. And then I also wanted to finish off with the Super Game Boy.
That's cool. I forgot
You
about that.
know, I love Super Game Boy, because at that point, my Game Boy was like, I don't want to play this thing. It's
Yeah.
heavy. But when I got it and it could put in my Mega Man 5 that had the extra chip in there to tell the Super Game Boy what colors, because regular Game Boy game was only four,
Yeah.
but certain games were made specifically for Super Game Boy to get your 10 or 12 colors out of it. Wario Land, Mega Man 5, Kirby's Dream Land
Yep.
2. There were specific ones. And like, this is completely off the top of my head. Like, it's just because I know this.
Uh,
Then where we go next?
we're going to 64-bit land, baby, and that's the Nintendo 64. This was, dare I say, revolutionary for its time, I think. We got a lot of,
Mhm.
like, 3D games. Uh, a upon first I love this controller, but upon first looking at it, you're like, "What the hell is that?" Like, I don't get it. But you find, or at least I feel like some people maybe didn't get into it. I really liked it. Like, I
Mhm.
enjoyed that controller. I still do.
Dibs
Um,
on Odd Job.
alright. That was that was the first, like, multiplayer deathmatch game, right? That I can think of. There
It
probably was
was.
one before that. I don't know. But anyway, that's the first one I remember playing where all your
I would be
friends.
surprised if there were like old LAN parties on Doom
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. But as far as the mass market home
Consoles.
console,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Man, just so many games of 007, just shooting your friends shooting you, and just getting mad and laughing and having fun. It was a great time. That was a great sleepover game or party game or hangout if you're just your cousins are over or your friends are over from school. We're playing 007, baby. Um, Banjo-Kazooie, I got a special place in my heart for Banjo-Kazooie. That game is so much fun. I love it's wholesome, it's goofy. Again, you see my theme here, Earthworm Jim and Zombies That Ate
Mm-hmm.
My Parents.
Surprised you didn't put Conker's Bad Fur Day on here.
Hey, it was yay close, but Banjo-Kazooie just like transcended that to me. Obviously, it's not as good as. Well, I mean, people may not think it's as good as Mario, but like I think it should be on that level, but it's not iconic.
No, I will agree with you. I would say it is.
And as Daniel says, dude, this is when I started getting into wrestling games. Although, I mean, I did play like WrestleMania on the Nintendo, but those games were lame. They had some other like wrestling games that were kind of hard. They were really hard to play. But this is the first time where like your wrestlers have, or that I can remember, your wrestlers have entrances and they have move sets, and you can taunt. You can tell a story while you're playing. You can put together a move set and wrestle in the ring. You create your characters and all this stuff. It was a lot of fun because if you don't know, this is when wrestling was having its like revival, right?
Renaissance? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the golden era with Hogan and all of that, and now we were like, this was the Attitude Era in WWE and the NWO era in WCW. They were hot, right? And you'll see it in PlayStation 2 when we get there. This is when I started playing, and this game was a lot of fun. And they had like, I think they had a WCW Nitro World Tour or something like that. Was a lot of fun too. Pokemon Stadium. My little brother was just getting into video games right now, and I don't know how many times I make him cry playing Pokemon Stadium. I feel bad thinking about it now because he didn't know what he was doing, but I did.
And remember, folks, this was the only place you could get Pikachu with Surf, or I should say,
Was it
it's
Raichu? Or
so it was no, it was Pikachu with Surf.
okay,
So if you were able to get Pikachu with Surf, technically in yellow, you had the only way to get him up into the newer generations is to get him into Stadium and then move him over. It was a whole thing.
yeah.
It's very rare that I can't remember if you can or can't, but Pokemon Stadium is extremely relevant in Pokemon history for the fact that if you have original,
Mm-hmm.
you know, blue, red, and yellow, that was one of the stepping stones you needed to be able to transfer one of your original Pokemon up to modern day.
Nintendo was on that. They knew what they were doing.
No, they didn't.
But yeah, Pokemon
Dude,
Stadium
it
was a
took
lot of
them
fun.
20 years to fix trade evolutions. Come on.
This is this is like my first real foray into Pokemon, honestly, other than the card game, because I would play
Mm-hmm.
that. But video game wise, like I didn't get to play red or blue or green on Game Boy or anything like that. So this was my first time really playing a video game of Pokemon. I loved it, and it started off my love. Now I love Pokemon. I get every game to come out. Um, dude, snowboarding, 1080 snowboarding is one of those kind of like sneaky games, kind of like Sega Fishing was.
Yep.
That this had a dude. I This is another one you would play with friends. If you had like 2 to 4 players, this was a lot of fun to just play and hit tricks and race down a mountain. And you could spend a whole afternoon just doing that. Greatest Zelda game. No, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I think it's been overtaken by Tears of the Kingdom. Not like recency bias, but Ocarina of Time was a special time in gaming for me. Uh, I think I locked myself in the room for a week and just played this game and didn't do anything else. Um, it kind of consumed me for a while. I was all about this is where I had enjoyed Zelda before this, Legend of Zelda before this. This is where my love of it comes from, though. Like I'm in now. I get it. I'm in there. This isn't just about puzzles and uh, you know, fun little fights. This is like a whole lore and like beautiful story. And I was sold forever as a Legend of Zelda fan. Um, I can't even tell you what it is that really the music, the graphics back then. You were like, wow,
Oh, yeah.
this is amazing. You look at it now, you're like, geez, that's not good.
So, jumping up to me, I never had Nintendo 64. Okay.
Okay.
But I think we double clicked.
Oh, sorry. Going back.
Sorry, PlayStation. Approved. This game is perfect. Shut up. Come at me. I went for the pumpkin spice. All
It,
right.
it this is one of those.
I didn't have Nintendo 64.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know who did?
Who?
Blockbuster Video. If
Okay.
I got particular score on my report card, my dad would let me rent. You could rent a
Yeah,
Nintendo 64 from
yeah.
Blockbuster. And I cranked on this game every weekend I could possibly get it.
It was a lot of fun.
And I hated the controller, but I
Yeah,
learned how to use it. I learned how
yeah.
to use it well. I think I even got because I had a Nintendo Power subscription still up into the N64 era because they were still making some SNES games. I think I had the guide that came with this, so I was able to get through this in a weekend. I didn't 100 it. I didn't get Yoshi
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
top of the
yeah.
castle, but by far probably one of the top tier Mario games ever. And again, there's nothing against Mario Sunshine. I have it on the collections, but it just wasn't the same. I think again it came down to the fact of Mario 64 felt like a Mario game. Mario Sunshine felt like a fireman game.
That's fair. I didn't play Sunshine until much later, so I had fun, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now let's let it spin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like you, I didn't have a PlayStation. Like you did with 64, I didn't have a PlayStation. Again,
Ah.
this is like the Sega as well. Like I'm going over to a friend's house to play this. I'm going like maybe after school, I might go to a friend's house or over the weekend, a cousin or something like that has it. Probably somebody older, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember how old I was when PlayStation 1 came out. But anyway, played a lot of SmackDown, WWF SmackDown, because again, Attitude Era was hot right now. This game was fun, especially with friends. Resident Evil 2 captured my
Is that
imagination.
China on the cover?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
it is. R.I.P. baby.
I got
Um,
mankind.
Resident Evil 2 was like I hadn't played the first Resident Evil at this point. But a friend of mine was like, check out this game, right? Called me. I was like, I loved it. I don't know what this is, but I love it. I'm having a great time. Uh, Never really got into Resident Evil hardcore going in the future, but that game still sits with me as one of my favorites.
I mean, consider how many times it's been remade, redone, re this,
Yeah,
re that.
yeah,
It really was a genre defining
yeah.
game.
I think that's the first time I played like a legit horror game. If yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one in there too, along the horror stuff. A friend of mine, Fatal Frame.
I don't think I played that one.
It is a horror game where you have to take a camera and find ghosts. So
Oh,
your jump scares are through the roof.
that's awesome.
Oh
I
yeah.
and I was yay close to putting Silent Hill up here, but I didn't really play Silent Hill. I watched people play it because I was too chicken to play. But I would watch people, I'd be like, "Oh, man, this is pretty cool," but I didn't really personally play it that much. Gran Turismo, I love Gran Turismo. I love every iteration of it from here till now. I like racing games. I'm a fan of racing games, and I feel like Gran Turismo is numero uno, and then maybe Need for Speed would be second. Um,
No, it's Gran Turismo, Mario Kart, Need for Speed.
yeah, uh, but yeah, that game was a lot of fun, and it kind of set me forward on that path too. Like where I just I enjoyed cars and stuff like that after that. Final Fantasy VII, again, another one of those like Ocarina of Time type of things where it just kind of captures you. The story
Yep.
just captures you, and you're like, "Oh my god, what is this?" Um,
And the legacy that game has had,
yeah, and that's the
you know.
first Final Fantasy game I played. It made me go back and play some more that I had missed because I was like, "What is this? Can I recapture this again?" You know, it's just iconic.
I know on my original Final Fantasy game, I was well over 100 and something odd hours, and I didn't have everything. I know that
Hmm.
for my original save file. And for me, I remember first playing it and hearing the music from the airship as it lifted up at my buddy Sean's house. Again, these are those weird memories, and that's why we wanted to do this and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
share it with you.
Exactly.
Just that reaction, that love and joy. Like, I know we bag on a lot of things on here, or at least I do. I'm opinionated, damn it.
That's fine.
But we do love this stuff. That's why we have our damn opinions.
Yeah.
So PlayStation was very hard for me because this is when I started having my own money.
Ah.
Now, don't tell me wrong. I had my own money in the past, and I would
Yeah,
go to
yeah, yeah.
Funko Land and trade up. So like, I kind of get annoyed at the fact that I don't have a lot of these older things. Like, I have my one copy of Boy and His Blob from my original Nintendo
Okay.
floating around
Yeah.
because I didn't have it to trade in.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, I bought my first Nintendo.
Wow.
It wasn't gifted to me. The
Yeah.
story behind it is that when my parents and I would go down to Atlantic City, I would sit right on the edge of the casino floor where my dad was no more than 5 feet away from me, and he had two different. See, this is the story, man. He had two different cups, two big cups, and one cup was his and one cup was mine. And I went down, I gave him $20 out of my Christmas money, and I would watch him put it in, and he'd play two hands of two, the one arm bandit of his, and then two of mine, and mine kept hitting. And that's how I got my first Nintendo. Then
That's
I
awesome.
traded it up for Super Nintendo. And then we had the depravity of, not being able to get anything else because God forbid, middle white class kid. uh, and then 1999, and I can't remember if it was Christmas. It was Christmas of 98 or just after I graduated high school in 99. My girlfriend at the time, Nikki, who we're still friends to this day, go support your local SAG actors. She had purchased this for me as a gift.
Oh, wow.
Like, the girlfriend bought me
Nice.
my first PlayStation.
Nice.
And honestly, I can say that for at least till PS4,
Yeah.
somebody else had bought me every single PlayStation.
Shoot.
And they each have funny stories. So, but talking about my games. Okay. So we got to talk about Spyro. All right. He
I
is the
knew you were gonna
mascot of
put that up
PlayStation.
here.
I like platformers, man.
Yeah, yeah. Also
Final
also
Fantasy.
the Skylanders thing, I was like, "He's gonna put Spyro up here, I just know it."
Yep. Well, that's because I started playing Skylanders because it
Yeah.
was Spyro.
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII, absolutely, and that was again because I finally had the time to learn how to play
Yeah.
RPGs after having so much that I did with Final Fantasy Legend. I did have Adventure 2, which wasn't very good on Game Boy,
Okay.
and then Final Fantasy VIII, of which I really just should get the remaster version of it. I hear some good things. It still has it's buggy as all hell.
Right.
Going up here, this is where I switched. I didn't play X2 and X3, but I went right into X4. And that opening of X4 just changed everything. It was a full FMV, anime style.
Yeah, I love that thing.
With the exception of, what is this one fighting for? Of Zero crying. And yes, I just covered my mic. It redefined how X games work. Now, mind you, I have X4 through 6.
Mhm.
Because we eventually went to PlayStation 2, and 7 and 8 don't matter. They don't exist to me. And my buddy Rob.
Sure.
One of the best games of all time on the original PlayStation, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If you have not
really
played this
good.
game, it is fantastic. If you have a PlayStation 4 or 5, they do have a remaster, or not a remaster, but a compilation version of that and Symphony of the Night, and I think Rondo of Blood. The Tony Hawk series.
I didn't start playing it until PlayStation 2, so I didn't put it on here.
Okay, so the original. So if you're someone like me, this is not only a great game, but it's something that defined a lot of your musical interests.
Yes.
The soundtracks of these games. And then out of that, a lot of folks don't remember this other one that I have on here called Grind Session.
Mm-mm.
Grind Session is another skater game that was in the same vein as like Tony Hawk, but it was all everybody who didn't get signed on for Tony Hawk. So it was like the B team.
Yeah.
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And then also as a PlayStation person, I had to put down the PlayStation demo disc. So when you got PlayStation Magazine, when you got EGM, and they threw a disc in there, and because of it, I have Heat from Bust a Groove. This
That's
was
cool.
one of the first Beanami games I ever really played. Not Power Rapper the Rapper,
Yeah.
but I used to play the PlayStation demo disc over and over and over to just play that one song. And I have the song from Bust a Groove, the
Oh
two of
yeah.
them, the actual soundtrack and the song "The Heat Is On." I don't care if they're covers; they are in my Spotify playlists
Hell yeah. Funny.
because
Go ahead.
I loved it.
Yeah. Funny little story about that PlayStation demo disc. Um, it, on the PS5, you got the demo for the
Astro, yeah,
Astrobot, right? And towards the, I think is it the final level? It's kind
Final
of like
Boss is the
yes.
demo disc, and then he upgrades to the modern version.
And my kids, they loved playing that in demo, by the way, and I loved watching them play. I didn't even need to play. I just watched them play. I was having such a good time. And when they got to that, I was like, I didn't say anything. I was like, I know what that is. And I told my kids, I was like, oh yeah, that's something from like old PlayStation. And then like I'd say a few days later, my oldest son was like, he knew it. Like he had to go look it up because that's kind of how he is. Like he's kind of
Mhm.
obsessed with things. He was like, that was from the PlayStation demo. He was telling me everything about it. I was like, yes, I know. So I thought that was really cool because it was like they're playing this new game and they kind of get this throwback and then it's like a connection back to something that I had when I was a kid. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
And if you want to have some fun, if you didn't get Astro's adventure, I haven't gotten it yet, and I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Just what's that thing? Oh, time,
Hmm.
right? But if you go back into the museum in Astro,
Yeah.
mess around with the things. Go
Yeah.
up and punch them. Like if you go up to the PlayStation 2 and punch the icon on the disc tray, it'll turn to the sideways version. If you punch the PlayStation 1 power button, you hear the
Yeah.
like every single thing is interactive in
That's
the
awesome.
museum. So
Yeah.
I really do recommend you check it out. But yeah, that's everything we've got so far this week. We definitely would love to do a part 2. We want to know what video games you would enjoy. Let us know in the comments below or on all your social medias. Make sure you're following along here with us at Dirt Initiative. And of course, as we always like to remind you, make sure you whack and smack that subscribe button, whether it's, pushing the A button, the B button, or doing a combo and going, Hadouken, and maybe you need the Hadouken over to the notifications. And
Uh,
if your thumb's not hurting from playing so many video games for so many hours, it's like we're playing California games. Have you ever used the toothbrush technique on the original Nintendo?
I have not. What is that?
So when you got to go through and rattle on A and B,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? You get a toothbrush and you go.
Oh, that's so smart.
The things I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got so much great content coming out for you. Make sure tomorrow night we're talking about Armored on Turn a Page. On Wednesday, we've got all our great comic book reviews coming out. On Thursday, since we've already kind of prepped you with a little, wrestling video game
You did.
history, make sure you drop in from the top rope and check out Wrestling Night Live with Rich and Sammy. There's so much stuff coming out. The TV crew is doing amazing. The book club has just had its amazing first month. So kudos to Lauren out there and her team. Me too.
And Tom.
Well, I'm the oddball. I do audiobooks. Why? Because reading? Ew. So we've got so much stuff coming out for you. And we really want you to come along with us. There's no password. There's no save. We just want you to,
That's
hang out
right.
with us here on Nerd Initiative. So yeah, Mickey,
Yeah.
what
So,
else we got?
I don't know. And then stay tuned for what next week is because we don't know yet. Mayhem, baby.
It's mayhem.
But like Tom said, we're growing like in movies and TV are getting much better and we're doing a lot more stuff there. And I'm excited to see it. I love it. And yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys have a great night. And remember, don't just play for fun.
Play for keeps.
Have a good night, guys.
I'm out.